Welcome everybody. It's so nice being here. My name is Tomás Ohannessian from Buenos Aires, Argentina. As Juan introduced me, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I haven't went through a sex change yet, but I mean, it's a consideration and it is something for me. So anyhow, in case you're wondering who's this guy with a weird accent, a weird name, and looks like a gay terrorist, my parents were Armenian immigrants from Armenia, immigrated to Argentina, and I was born and raised there in Buenos Aires. And then myself, like many of you, became an immigrant to Canada, right? And growing up with a big nose, Armenian nose, like I always grew up with a huge inferiority complex. So I worked very hard to overcome that. And I remember being a little guy and I started reading books like, the first one was Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence Over People. Anybody read that book? All right, did it work out for you? Yeah?
A little bit.
Good. For me, it didn't. I didn't have any friends, and I'm so down that working in sales and I cannot influence anybody. But anyhow, you know, this big nose thing here, and it's a serious issue because even my wife now with the coronavirus, when she was looking for masks, she one day comes home very happy when the whole thing started. She says, you know what, I found masks for everybody except you. What do you mean except you? Because there is no mask that could cover that nose, right? The virus has so many rooms to go through your face. But that's not nice. But in the changing subject, adapting from a different culture, one of the hardest thing wasn't the language, but the cultural mode, right? Like, for example, in Argentina, it's more laid back, right? Some of you who are from South America could understand. Being late is not a big issue. And in Canada, being late is a sign of disrespect. Actually, it's a major sign of disrespect, right? In Argentina, a major sign of disrespect is not showing up or canceling in the last minute. So let me give you an example for you to understand where I'm coming from. In Canada, I want to meet with Mario. I haven't seen him in a long while. I call him and say, Mario, how are you? What's up? Why don't we do this? It's been a long while. Yeah, sure, Tomas, let's get together. Okay, when can we get together? I said, let me check my schedule. He says to me, March 21st, 2021. Well, you weren't so excited to see me to begin with, but that's okay. Let's go. So I get ready, waited 6 months, so excited. You know, March 31st arrives. I'm so happy. Invariably, like that same morning, 45 minutes before, I receive a text. Sorry, something came up. What? I waited 6 months for this meeting and something came up. Don't even give me a fat lie excuse. Can't you tell me, you know, my cat died, there was a hurricane in my house, there was whatever, fire, something. Nothing. Not even the you know, he didn't even offer to reschedule the meeting. Like, that really bothers me, right? That's a big no-no. Back home, let me give you the same example. I call a friend, let's say, Fernando, how are you? How are things been? Why we haven't seen each other? Yeah, sure. When we get together? When do you want to get together? I don't know. Tomorrow, the day after? Okay, let's get together the day after. How about lunch, happy hour, whatever you want. Invariably, I meet Fernando. The only excuse that Fernando has for not showing up is if his wife or his mother calls me and says, Tomas, you know what happened? Fernando died this morning. That's the only excuse. Other than that, he has to show up, right? And the other thing is this way of communicating, right? Like, for example, this text, I'm old school, right? Like, you can tell, like, I'm not a millennial, like most of you look very young and beautiful, but I want to look like you, right? But the reality is that I'm a baby boomer. So I don't get along with technology, but that's a different show, a different conversation. I don't have much time today. But, you know, canceling or at the last minute via text, something came up, I mean, believe me, it crushes my heart, right? And because texts they don't have emotions, right? Like, you receive a text, or you want to send a text, texts don't have meanings, right? They don't have feelings. Even if you want to use the emojis, right? The emojis for me are like these yellow little things that have blood coming out of their ears, and I guess it's they call it hearts or whatever. But for someone who's a boomer and doesn't see very well, you know, it doesn't mean nothing. So every time I have engaged in a conversation via text with someone, I always ask them first, could we have a phone call? And they said it's faster via text. Now, this is pure truth story, right? 10 years ago, I was texting with a client. I asked him, can we have a phone call? No, let's do it via text. Okay. And in those days, you know, there wasn't smartphones. It was a flip phone that the number one had the ABC, the number two, the DFG, the number three, XYZ, whatever. So you have to text and type like crazy, right? So I go and tell her, after everything, all the few texts that back and forth went on with her, she sends me like a last text saying LOL, LOL, right? Not knowing what it meant. I said, excuse me, but wasn't your name Susan? Why did you sign LOL? So she texts me back and says, laugh out loud, Tomás. These are acronyms that we are using to avoid wasting so much time in texting, in typing. Ah. I text her back, DISCAT, D-I-S-T-K-A-T with a question mark. So she comes back and texts me back saying, DISCAT, what do you mean by DISCAT? What DISCAT means? I text her back, do I supposed to know all that? With a question mark. And then I text her, this is the acronym I invented for people like you to help you save time and texting type late. But all these like going like crazy, right? And she texts me back, furious, no, with exclamation mark. Tomás, you're not supposed to invent your own acronyms. Acronyms are already all invented. Besides, imagine, if everybody invents their own acronym, world would be a chaos. Now, I'm over 40, I never have time, I'm always late, you know, and this lady is giving me a PhD lecture about texting via texting. So I have the texticles the size of this room. And I decided to tell her, you know what, Susan, why don't we just leave it here, and thank you so much for teaching me all this. Then she texts me back, right, saying, Lord, why don't we go for lunch next week? And I text her back, no, something came up already. TYBM, thank you very much. Anyhow, this was all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the night, and God bless you.